Good evening, good evening all. Um, yeah, just a quick roundup from me really. This week's been pretty weird, hasn't it? You know, Boris going to the Queen. I think that was last week. Um, or the week previous. Sorry, I mean last week's nearly now. Um, getting the go ahead from the Queen to cease Parliament for longer. And then Parliament going against him completely. Jeremy Corbyn, obviously, Mr. Bigwig, not trying to sort of put his two pence worth in wherever he can, or his Labourites, or Momentumites, or Antifa-ites, whatever. But the reality is, remoaners, we're leaving. Whatever you want or don't want is not the issue here. 17.4 million of us voted to leave, and you can go on about how a lot of the people would be dead by now who voted to leave. Well, sorry, but it's unfortunate. The referendum was held in 2016. Nothing you can do about it, or anyone can do about it. A second referendum, let me tell you what would happen. The possibility is that we would end up with the votes going to Remain. Then what would happen? Let's think about that. I think there would be a few issues in hand there, don't you? Democracy, as you keep saying, is being, used criminally by Boris Johnson, and it's not, by the way, would be completely out the window, wouldn't it? Because who has a vote that the 17.4 million people vote for in their country, and 3 years later we're still discussing whether we should do a second referendum. We're still discussing if we're going to leave, etc., etc. Boris is clear, we're leaving. All of these MPs, Parliament, John Bercow, you're all wrong. You're all wrong. This country voted to leave, irrelevant if we've got a deal or not. We're leaving. We're leaving. And if we don't, then you'll watch the right stamp and scream, trust me. Because there's no way, after all the violence and disgraceful behaviour of the left over the last week or so, since Boris has declared the 31st of October is when we leave the EU, the disgusting violent behaviour of the left and Antifa and all the rest of them has been nothing more than an absolute disgrace. A disgrace to this country. So to be honest, go to Europe, all of you. Go and live there. We want our country. We want to be just Great Britain. You don't. You've got an option. Get on a ferry. Get on a boat. Get on whatever. Swim there if you want. Hopefully half of you will drown on the way. Because I tell you what, a lot of you are disgusting, disgraceful people. Trust me, you are. You are. Another thing that bugged me this week is the black man, unbiased black man video with two people wearing leather and chains with a little girl sitting next to him out in the street. You are repulsive people, and you should be caged. The animals in the zoo shouldn't be. It's people like you should be caged. And, behind prison bars or a zoo, it doesn't matter. You're just disgusting. There was a child there. How dare you be wearing leather and all chains and shit in the high street. Disgusting people. Well done to Danny Tommo and everybody else that's been out and about. I have had a weekend off. I was going to be doing this, but to be honest, I'm going to be waiting for the release of Tommy. The 11th of September is quite significant to me. It's my wonderful, wonderful dad's birthday. Also, it's the memory of the 9/11 attacks, of course, by Islamic extremist bombers. Which was a travesty and devastating to the world and everyone involved, especially, and their families. I don't think there's any politicians in there at the time, though, was there? I don't know. I've heard so many conspiracy theories, I don't know what the hell anymore. All I know is that it happened. It didn't not happen. So what's going to happen if the left were to get their way right now and make sure Brexit was not to go ahead is there'll be anarchy in this country. I can guarantee it. Anarchy. 17.4 million. Some of their responses are, well, most of them people would be dead now. No, most of them people wouldn't. Okay, a few might be, but The new younger generation of snowflakes is the problem, because you all want this great, like, multicultural society, so on, and yalla yalla. Why don't you go over to an Islamic state and go and live there like that, and don't go by their rules, see what happens then? Because believe me, you'll realise how good you had it. All right, and if you want to be out, you want to remain in Europe so much, remain in Europe. Go away. We don't actually need the likes of you violent thugs who claim the right of violent. Actually, we're trying to do good. We're trying to uphold what the country wants. We're trying to uphold the right that our children have not to be raped by these Muslim gangs. And of course, paedophiles in the UK. We're after your asses too, believe me. The care system in this country needs an absolute overhaul, you know. And the thing is, someone like Boris Johnson is the man to do this. I've spoke to Jeremy Corbyn in length. He wrote down my name, my address, my phone number, my case about my little girl. All full of, oh, that's terrible. I'm going to help you. That's just awful. Such a bad story. That should never have happened. Got home. 2 days later, his secretary emailed me. You're not in our constituency. I'm not in John Hemmings in Birmingham either, but the man still helped me and got my petition into Parliament. Thank you very much. So, Corbyn, don't stand talking to people for 20 minutes about bullshit you're not going to do and you never even thought about afterwards until I emailed, and then you're like, shit, tell her she's not in our constituency. You're going to help me get my daughter back, weren't you, you tosspot? Yeah, exactly. What I said to someone the other day, Corbyn couldn't run a bath. Neither could the rest of them, Momentum and Labour, really, could they? Yeah, so I've got full faith in Boris. You know, I loved his speech the other day at the police, whatever it was, when he said he'd rather be dead in a ditch. Unfortunately, Parliament is sort of trying to make it that he has to now eat his words. But I'm sure Boris has a plan up his sleeve. But I will tell you all this. I study family law and have to go on the government site quite a bit. The heading on the government site 2 or 3 days ago, when I went on to find some law or another, it came up immediately at the top. We are leaving the EU on the 31st of October 2019. This is what you need to know or whatever for certain sections, but that was a government website. They wouldn't be putting that up in bold at the top, would they, of all the articles, if that wasn't true? We are leaving the EU on the 31st of October 2019. Clearly, they already know we are. You know, no matter how much you absolute disgraceful children keep trying to fight this, you're not going to win. We won't let you. What you're going to see on the streets of the UK, if you did get your way, is something that you've never seen before, because Antifa, Momentum and Labour and all of your stupid support, listen here, alright, if we want to make a scene, we'll make a scene big enough to be seen. 17.4 million people being taken the piss out of. No. There might have only been 16 something, you know, so not a lot less of you lot. But at the end of the day, you lost. You lost. Nicky, na na. Na 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 na. You lost. Deal with it. The trouble I've got going on is that the teenagers, like my son's 20, my daughter's 22, they all seem to think it's really racist to not, really racist to not want the, you know, all these foreign people in this country. They don't know, that's why. They don't know. They don't know what we've gone through because of these people. They don't see the Islamic State suddenly, slowly overtaking, getting quicker though, overtaking. They don't see the crime rates among multicultures. They don't see a lot of things that are going on in this country because of this. They don't see it's a problem to be a boy, girl, identified, what you like, whatever. The reason for these people, and I can assure you, I feel quite like it's my fault in my case, because I know my son pretty much goes against what I say now, which is shocking. He's very on, like, you know, on side with me the most. But with this whole Brexit thing, you know, I think a lot of people have had enough of it, to be fair. But, you know, he's like, oh, Mum, that's racist if you don't. It's not racist. It's holding up democracy in the UK. And what it is doing is actually proving to me more than ever. The teenagers of these days have been so spoiled. and given what they want by the parents, such as me. I gave everything that my children wanted because I didn't want them to not have what they wanted. I wanted them to have a good life. But by doing that, we've turned them into snowflakes. And it's a shocking thing. And, you know, and the more and more different people come over from different countries all over the world and start to build homes here in England, it seems the more that the youngsters are calling us who are a bit older racist, etc. You know, I mean, there was programs in the 50s and 60s where calling people a COON and stuff. I think it's Alf Garnett. He had, you know, it was just normal and funny. Now, of course not. It's all right for the other minorities, not minorities, sorry, the other cultures to call us things, though, isn't it? In our own country, it's all right for them to demand the St George's flag isn't up. It's all right for them to demand whatever the damn hell they want. The women, they can wear them letterboxes. And, yeah, that's fine. But underneath that could be a white, I don't know, serial killer or a white Catholic priest. You know, anyone could be under them. We don't want you under them. Get out of our country if you want to be under them. We want to know who you are. There's been things done where a man with a motorbike helmet's gone into a garage at the same time as a woman with a hijab or whatever it is. She was allowed to get her petrol. Do you think he was? No. A man wearing a motorbike helmet is more endangering than a woman, also called, or maybe she isn't, maybe she is, underneath a complete veil with just the slit of her eyes, letterbox. So yeah, apparently that's acceptable. However, a motorcycle helmet isn't. Come on, people. This is getting beyond the point of childish, isn't it? I mean, I can't really work out what's going on in Parliament. I don't understand how there's a new Prime Minister who's asking for a snap election and all the other parties are denying it. What sort of parties deny a general election, especially Jeremy Corbyn? Wouldn't you want to win, Jeremy? Wouldn't you win? Aren't you that fabulous? Aren't you that supported? Or is it you couldn't run a bath, my friend? Couldn't run a bath. Couldn't even contact someone back you spoke to about such an intense, such a life-changing, life-destroying situation as mine. It was all just a load of superficial shit, wasn't it, Jeremy Corbyn? Because that's what you are. Full of shit, okay? Boris means what he says. Boris says he'll be dead in a ditch before he goes to Brussels for an extension. However, Parliament are forcing this now. I think you should all be ashamed. I think you should all be made to stay off for them few more days. I don't see why you have got any say in this. He's the Prime Minister. He runs our country. He's the one with the say. Now, whether we live with a deal or no deal, it's got nothing to do with you leftist Remainers. The reason we called you remoaners is because that's all you do is moan. We didn't get it. We're going to do this. We're going to take to the streets and cause absolute havoc. Watch the right if you get your way. You watch the right. You watch us. Watch us. You've seen nothing. You lot. We can do it without violence, though. That's the thing. So we've got the upper hand on you lot because you're as thick as 2 planks of short wood. Unfortunately, you won't put them off the side of a pier and walk off them. That's the only tragedy there. But yeah, honestly, the Eurostar, you know, there's planes to France, planes to Germany, planes all over Europe, and boats, etc., trains. Why don't you go and get one? Go and join in with them. Go and live with the Europeans, because clearly you're part of them. Yeah, we're not. We're leaving. Okay, so the thing is, as well, in Parliament, if this isn't to get passed and there is a second referendum, then what? The answer will be what? Remain? Do you think us leavers are going to just go, oh, okay, yeah, because we was allowed that second referendum? Not. And yeah, because a few people have died and the votes are a little bit different. Oh no, yes, we must remain. No, we're not. The referendum was held in 2016. A decision was made, the voting was done, and we came to a clear leave. That was the outcome, leave. We haven't, and it's nearly been 4 years. Ashamed of ourselves? Yes. Boris has come along and he's got a new outlook on this. He's got a fresh outlook. Stop bringing him down, politicians. Who do you think you are? Stop scaremongering people about gas and electric and petrol and food and everything else. The food in this country, out of food banks, is going at an astonishing rate, trust me. The universal credit in this country is ripping the arses out of families. They're losing their houses, they're not having enough money to eat. Okay, so yeah, don't say that that's because of Brexit. It's nothing to do with Brexit. Nothing to do with Brexit at all, is it? It's because our country is going deep down the pan because of this whole Brexit scenario, really. Because the sooner we join together and become Great Britain, the better. Now, so that's my suggestion, is that the people that really are Remainers and really don't want England to leave the EU, please, if you haven't got one already, purchase a passport and piss off. Secondly, the ones that do remain, that are not that are Remainers, but stay, basically in the UK, even though they want to leave. All I can say to you is, sorry, your vote didn't win, and that's it. You must not understand democracy, the paradoxy of the democracy, of the government trying to suggest that Boris Johnson is going against democracy when he's not. He's clearly trying to uphold it. You've all got it twisted. Do you all just twist what you want to hear into what you want to hear and then believe it's true? Clearly seems that way. And you know what else, you lot? Tommy's out on the 11th, my dad's birthday. Brilliant day for me. I shall hopefully be there to see him released as well. So, yeah, looking forward to that a lot because the Warrior's back. But let me tell you, Danny Tommo, what a hero. You take over for him so well, Danny. And I know you did your other stuff after Tommy came out last time. And you was doing a lot, and I appreciate that so very much, Danny. As a survivor of Muslim gangs, I appreciate what you're doing for these girls. And if you ever need any help, I'm here. I've experienced it. I've got through it. I can deal with it, and I have, understanding of it. Also, white British paedophilia. I have unfortunately got that I've had to deal with also. Paedophilia is in every culture, of course, except we just don't need people coming to our own country to actually rape our daughters. It's what we don't need doing. So yeah, basically, Remoaners, go Remoan somewhere else. You're not getting nowhere. I'll tell you what though, there was a man the other day, Danny Tommo, started talking to him, and he said, what are we going to do about these Remainers, these leavers, mate? And he was a Remainer, and he said, gas them all. That was his answer, gas them all. So Danny said, well, that's a bit harsh. No, sure they'd do it to us. He went, it's not a bit harsh saying we'd gas the people that wanted to leave, people that voted. The man didn't have an answer. That is their logic. Their brains. They obviously, when they were asked on their way out of heaven what they wanted, brains or drains, they obviously chose drains because that's the only thing they've got is a drain mouth. Sewer mouth, really. I tell you what as well, the way they mask up, funny, aren't they? We'll see, all you lot. If this goes wrong for Boris, we are going to cause you serious problems. You cannot do what you're doing. Parliament, you cannot do what you're doing. And the rest of you following it, more for you. We've got to leave, and we will leave. Boris has got it all up his sleeve. You heard him. He'd rather be dead in a ditch than ask for an extension. Is that why they're all going against him? Just to try to, make him look a fool because of what he said? The man has truly got this country at heart, and all of you lot are trying to oppose him because you think you're so wonderful, and let's oppose and go against the Prime Minister and get our own way. Trust me, you get your own way, you get a second referendum. If you think you've got problems now, you want to see the ones that are coming, believe me, because we haven't pulled all of the stops just yet, believe me. And the minute you tell us we're not going anywhere is the minute you are going to know that you've made the very wrong choice and took the wrong side. And I'm not being violent or threatening. I am telling you, the few hundred thousands that have been on the streets over this will turn into a few million, and I can guarantee that without a shadow of a doubt, people keep talking about the 4 million signed petition for, you know, the second referendum. Well, 4 million is substantial. You got, you know, can't deny that. But what about the 17.4 million? And, you know, even the ones that are dead, they voted when it was actually a vote, before they were dead. So, you know, and so it's irrelevant, all of you silly people suggesting that everyone's dead now that voted. No, a small amount will be, and they won't all be old age pensioners like you suggest either. And not all of the young people believe in what you're saying either. Because believe me, once I get chatting to people, I can really turn their heads around on it. And if they were to see any of you lefty loonies, they would be completely on side. So perhaps it's about time I started getting some friends of mine that are quite influential on my in our movement, because I tell you something now, they're very influential people, and I could get them round to my way of thinking in seconds. They probably are leavers anyway. Most of my people I know are leavers. You know, so let's get this done, Boris. Let's get these absolute degenerate, retarded, disgusting, vile, masked fucking, sorry about the French, masked Looney Tunes either put into a mental health institution for life or packed off to Europe. Might as well. You know, they're causing enough havoc. Do we really want them here? Nah. Especially not with Great Britain, Boris. You know, when you pass the bill on the 31st, that's going to have them up in arms. And if you don't get to do it, Boris, we understand they're actually tying your back, hands behind your back. These people are absolutely, they're like hyenas. Fucking hyenas. I'm laughing at the laughing, because they're making me laugh, because they're laughing hyenas. That's all they are. Scratching for scraps. You, Boris, you've got the right idea. Go, boy. Thank you. Right, and good luck to Tommy out on the 11th. Bettie's really excited, and it's my dad's birthday on the 11th as well. Yeah, so, and all in all, I was watching through my Royal Court of Justice, Camp for Justice videos. I've been posting them on my YouTube as well from last year. It was a brilliant demonstration. Family law is a minefield, and it's difficult to get change, especially being a parent. I've chose to go that step further than just being the parent that fights. I fight for myself, I fight for others. I've been in front of the president of the family division. I've been, you know, told that I'm a competent, like, you know, basically as competent as a solicitor in the Royal Court of Justice in front of the highest judge in the land, President Lord McFarlane. You know, so at the end of the day, family law is a minefield, and, you know, and I'd like Boris to address that. But to be honest, until this Brexit stuff's out of the way, we're all screwed. Boris has got the right idea. Once the country's left, the rest of them, the remainers, are going to have to realise they've lost at some point, and it's only then we'll start uniting. Because if you lot get your way, believe me, it's going to be anarchy in the UK. It's not what you want, because you think you're all big and hard and that you can overpower everyone. You think there's a lot of you in London. You've seen nothing. Nothing. Okay, I've seen a lot of protesters, and you weren't a lot of protesters. All you were was a lot of people shouting a load of shit. Nobody could even understand what you were saying. You know what I mean? Even our marches, you call us Nazis and fascists. What are you? Violent, masked up, uneducated fools. School, and unwashed as well. I noticed a lot of you looked unwashed, and your clothes didn't look washed. You know, get a bit of self-respect, please. Yeah, so again, shout out to Danny, shout out to Richard, shout out to Abby, shout out to Ezra, shout out to all the girls on Twitter, Tommy Girl, and all the different ones, you know. Let's all just keep this together. Let's just make sure these people do not get what they want. And if they start to look like they're getting what they want, let's fight hard against this. Alright, let's show them what it's really like to fight. Not fight as in physical, let's give it to them. Because legally, we are meant to be leaving the EU. Irrelevant of what they're doing in Parliament now. I mean, I've heard John Bercow is against Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson's the Prime Minister, you are the Speaker of the House. You know, what? Also, I mean, it's going through the House of Lords, House of Commons. The House of Lords is for what? I know they can pass some laws, etc., but they have to go through Parliament first, the Commons first, and anything passed in the Commons is very difficult to change in the Lords. But I watched a bit of the Lords the other day, and I just wondered to myself, are these people not sort of borderline dead? Half of them, you know, on their way out. Have they got any idea about what's going on in the outside world, really? I don't think they've got much. I really, really don't. Some of these laws and amendments that they make don't make any sense. If you look at them properly, they sort of all override each other to sort of always make sure that no matter what occurs, there's a reasoning behind how you can change it. I think this is probably what Boris is dealing with at this exact moment right now. It's a very sad state of affairs, but I'm sure when Tommy gets out, he'll have something to say about it. Anyhow, as you can see, I'm trailing as I'm quite tired. I've had a busy weekend. Okay, I'll speak to you soon. Look forward to seeing you on the 11th of September at Belmarsh for the release of Mr. Warrior Tommy Robinson. Goodbye.